Well, howdy, and welcome back to another fine episode of, well, this is going to be Resurrecting the Dinosaurs. Yep, I picked up this little roundhouse at a train sale. I love getting buildings at train sales because I usually don't pay more than about $5 a building, and here I got a roundhouse for $5. You know how much that roundhouse costs if you buy it new? I think it's like around $30 at least. And I mean that's just an Atlas roundhouse. It's a pretty nice building. I got, of course, buying them used, they're usually already built up. As you can see, what we're going to do, and the reason this is Resurrecting the Dinosaurs instead of Weathering 101, we will go over and finish the building in Weathering 101. We're starting in Resurrecting the Dinosaurs. Even though this is a much younger dinosaur than, say, Old Athern or Old AHM, this here is a... I don't see them being all that popular as far as buildings go. What's going to be needed here for this project to paint the bricks, of course, is paint. I've got two different colors here. Sometimes you can use as many colors as you wish. I'm using cosmetic sponge wedges. I'm also using a couple of regular cosmetic sponges. Cosmetic sponges can be picked up at any Walmart store, or at any drugstore. They're great to have around because they are so useful. You'll need rags because you're going to have a way of making this to where you get most of the paint out of that sponge. It's not real difficult job to do brickwork. I know some people have accused me of actually taking and using a very small paintbrush and painting my bricks individually. I don't do that. No. It's really a much simpler process than that. Alright. Getting situated here, because it's been a while since I've actually used this thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour, well, be sure you shake your paint up first. You can get this paint, by the way, at any Walmart store. That's where I usually get it. A lot of the time you'll find these paints at yard sales and stuff. You can get like a big box full of them for like $1. Put a little bit, because what I often do, and this is the reason I use two colors at a time, I'll take and put, I'll mix the two colors also, and that'll make a third unique color. Not a difficult process to do at all. Put a little bit of red in there, and then a little red on its own. Not a hard thing to do. Now, you need a little something to mix these up with. I imagine on this one I'll probably mostly use like the brown brick. This is an industrial type building, even though it's a roundhouse. So it's going to have to, they would have used the lower priced, cheaper brick they could get, cheapest possible brick they could get their hands on. Now, of course, usually when I'm working at it, I'm usually facing the part that I'm working on, but since I'm putting this on tape, on videotape, to show how I do it, now this isn't necessarily the right way to do it. There is no real right and wrong way to do it. You can spray paint the brick color on, and then sit there and do a series of washes with like float wool dust or float wool white. The color I'm using here that I used for my mortar color, what I did was I laid down the mortar color everywhere that there's brick. And by doing that, of course, I've made sure that I've worked all of that mortar color into the mortar lines on the brickwork. And what that, how I mixed my mortar color, I used a base of white, and then added a little bit of gray in, just light amounts of gray. This was also the same paint that I'm using to do the brickwork. Doesn't hurt a thing. You dip your cosmetic sponge in the paint and then work the paint off of it on your rag. Always got to have rags. You know how important rags are. And then you just start lightly working it on. And be sure you do your colors. See, this is why you want to use a couple of different colors, because you know that brick is not a uniform color. It never has been. But you just keep working it and working it and working it. This is just a fun little project. It's not, it's like I said, there's other ways of doing it that are just as valid. Now see, I've dipped into a little bit different color. I've dipped into the mixed one now. So, and be sure run your colors together. Now I've known some people that'll take and actually drag the cosmetic sponge, and it does work somewhat. But you'd also end up with a lot of color in your mortar lines if you're not careful. If you push too hard, no, you just want to pat it. You just want to pat it. And believe it or not, your brick color will be added in a lot shorter order than you think it is. Now you see how that wall's beginning to look? You see it's beginning to take a little shape there. It doesn't look like much yet. Remember, you know, you got to finish that first. As you can see, we're getting a little bit further along here. My fingers are red. That's one of the disadvantages to the cosmetic sponge. That's why you want to use like a non-toxic paint, like these folk art paints and stuff. That way you don't end up ending up with anything transdermally going into your system from your skin, like solvent-based paints would do. Because they will, you know, stuff like that does soak through these cosmetic sponges. I mean, they're made for cosmetics, for goodness sake. Yeah, I know. I like to go into the makeup department at Walmart and buy a lot of stuff, don't I? But we're getting along there. Believe it or not, coming from this side on around to this side, it's been about 15 minutes. So it doesn't really take, I mean, if I was sitting here painting it with a brush, it would take maybe a few seconds or a few minutes less. However, I would not, I would not have my mortar line showing very well at that rate now, would I? Of course, the idea behind patting the paint onto the brickwork is, you know, with a cosmetic pad, of course, is to keep the mortar lines intact, or as much intact. You can add a little bit heavier paint in various areas, you know, make it an older building where the mortar has crumbled and fallen out.